The decision was made by them when they chose to ignore you and keep their distance. Now, when they begin to face the repercussions, you will begin to confront your own. They remained silent when you required their assistance the most, and now you will also remain silent as justice is carried out. A lack of rescue, mercy, and intervention is present. All of the debts in the universe are brought into balance, and the payment is due today. When you were at your most vulnerable, they abandoned you. Today, they are standing alone, just as they did when they left you. The staff meeting in which they nodded along while your ideas were credited to someone else. The family meal in which lies about you went unquestioned. The social media pile-on in which professed pals remained silent. And the rumors that they let to spread like wildfire while professing neutrality are all occasions that you should remember. This entire time, the cosmos has been recording in 8K quality, acting as if it were a heavenly investigator conducting a forensic investigation. Your fingerprints have been collected from each and every knife that has been inserted in your back. Text messages, surveillance footage, money transfers, and whispered chats that they believed would vanish into thin air are all examples of receipts that are stacked to the brim in the area that houses the celestial evidence for investigation. You were the group chat that they did not include you in, the birthday party that you were not invited to, the promotion that they knew you deserved but did not mention, the false accusation that they could have cleared your name with a single truth, the hospital bed that they did not visit, the loan that they did not repay, the credit that they enthusiastically stole, and the reputation that they allowed to be tarnished when a simple "that's not true" would have changed everything. There was no stranger among these. These individuals were the ones who sent you texts that said, "thinking of you," those who referred to you as your best friend and family, those who shared holiday meals at your table, those who knew the passcode to your phone, and those who witnessed your kindness firsthand but conveniently developed amnesia when speaking up, would have cost them something. Their betrayal was not written in the stars, rather, it was chronicled in red receipts, blue check marks, alerts that they were seen, and the unexpected quiet that followed your desperate "can we talk?" Their planned neutrality when you needed allies was not cosmic. Rather, it was cowardice, wearing a spiritual masquerade. That was their behavior. At this moment, the backup disk of the universe is in the process of downloading gigabytes of receipts. That text message from the group in which they arranged everything returned. That private talk that someone overheard in the break room, along with those money transactions that they believed were untraceable, was flagged. IP addresses were logged for the bogus social media accounts that they designed and created. Metadata that was kept in the documents that they edited. The falsehoods they told while under oath, which were contradicted by their own remarks made in the past. It is the equivalent of watching someone who thought they had wiped their browser history subsequently learn that the cloud has retained everything. The digital footprint they leave behind is like a neon highway that leads directly to repercussions that they did not anticipate. You didn't stumble here by accident. You were led. If something in your spirit is stirring, don't ignore it. Tap Join to access exclusive content, prophetic insights, and a community of purpose-driven souls. This isn't just a membership. It's your moment of alignment. Step into who you were born to be. Welcome to the Chosen. The most lovely thing about this justice is that it does not need any effort from you. There will be no confrontations, no posting of receipts, and no elaborate plans for vengeance. Automated execution is a feature of the universal algorithm. It is not your responsibility to move the boulder of justice uphill. Rather, it is your responsibility to just step aside as it rolls freely downward. In this moment, take a look at these individuals who believed that they were so intelligent, so strong, and so far beyond the reach of global law. Take a look at how they scurry around like insects when the darkness is brought into the light. Observe how they turn against one another in an effort to save themselves as their united front disintegrates into rubble. Remember how they nodded their heads in agreement when they were fed lies about you? That person on the other side of the room, with fear written all over their face. When you were painted with false colors, do you remember how they stood there, silently complicit in helping you? In a figurative sense, that one was compensated for their treachery by receiving 30 pieces of silver. The price of treachery in ancient times has not changed significantly over the course of millennia. The individual who is seeking to flee, to escape across borders before judgment is handed down, is experiencing a burning sensation from within their conscience. People are aware of what they have done. Every hour that goes by, they are aware of the cosmic noose becoming more constricted. It is clear that they have a profound comprehension of the fact that payment is now due, as suggested by their desperate attempts to fake their own departure. Watch as the foundations of the spiritual institution that sheltered these conspirators and that gave a sacred cover for deeds that were profane shake. Whenever the truth decides to shake things up, institutions that were constructed on lies cannot continue to exist. Their hallowed sanctuaries will be devoid of their possessions, their treasuries will be depleted, and their authority will disintegrate like salt in the waves of the cosmos. There was one among them who had a glimmer of heavenly light that was still flickering within their darkened soul. This was the person who watched the machinations with growing concern. This was the person who realized, possibly too late, that harming a being that is divinely protected brings ramifications that are beyond the comprehension of mortals. This whistleblower, who was once considered to be one of your adversaries, has chosen to come forward and reveal the truth. Over the course of many years, they have carefully crafted illusions, but their testimony runs like cleansing water, washing them away. They speak of gatherings in which the planning of your annihilation was carried out with a clinical meticulousness. Documents that were fabricated with evil intent are revealed by them. They admit to having spiritual assaults carried out against you during the time when the moon was lying in the dark in the sky. Every single detail is shown. Every single participant is identified. Every single cache is accounted for, and every single method is revealed. When they look at this truth teller, the other people have a poisonous glare in their eyes. They hiss between gritted teeth. Traitor, as they declare. However, who was the one who actually betrayed whom? A violation of the universal laws of justice was committed by these conspirators, the higher self that they were betrayed by them. When they chose to align themselves against someone who walks in light, they betrayed the divine flame that was already present within them. While this tempest raged around you, even though it was often unseen, you continued to stand, breathe, and exist in spite of their most desperate efforts to eradicate your presence from this terrestrial plane. Do you comprehend the exceptional nature of this situation? Do you have a clear understanding of the significant spiritual resilience you possess? They threw everything at you with unrelenting determination. False reports that were designed to strip you of your fundamental rights, which were circulated through systems that were meant to protect you. Character assassination campaigns that were meticulously crafted to isolate you from potential supporters, which spread like poison through communities that you once trusted. financial attacks that were calculated to destabilize your material foundation, which struck when you were most vulnerable economically. Spiritual warfare that was aimed at your very soul struck during your moments of deepest doubt. The universe has a very specific directive for you, and it is being sent to you with the authority of natural law. You should behave in no way whatsoever. In a moment, they will put on the complete circus performance. The trembling voice will come with the tearful phone call saying, "I know we haven't talked in months, but I really need your help right now." The convenient spiritual awakening will arrive in lengthy messages explaining, "I've been doing a lot of healing work and realized that I wasn't a good friend to you." The selective amnesia will appear in confused texts, wondering, "I don't understand why you're being so cold." Both of these things will occur simultaneously. The guilt trip will manifest itself in emotional pleas that remind you, "After everything we've been through, you're really going to abandon me now." The guilt trip will remind you that you have always supported you. The mutual friend messenger will suddenly contact you, explaining they're really going through a hard time and just need someone to talk to. The social media bat signal will manifest as vague posts about finding out who your real friends are during difficult times. The sudden remembrance of your existence will materialize after 6 months of silence, with casual messages saying, "Hey stranger, long time no talk, miss you." If you've been touched by God's goodness, don't keep it to yourself. Click Super Thank You and sow a gift of $50 or more to help spread His light. Your giving becomes a ripple of grace, blessing hearts and building His kingdom. Let His overflow pour through you. Your reaction to each and every one of these performances, the exact same energy that they gave you when you contacted them, crying after that betrayal, and to their surprise, they were quite busy. The same attention that they provided when you required a witness to testify truthfully about what had occurred, but they simply forgot the intricacies of the situation. The same sense of urgency that they displayed when you inquired for the money that they owed you when your rent was due, and they promised to deliver it to you soon. The same sense of presence that they offered when you were in the hospital waiting for visitors who decided not to come because something more important came up. The same level of responsiveness that they shown when you submitted the susceptible text message that was kept unread for several days before receiving a generic response. Their similar assistance that they provided when you were the only one who had to deal with those false charges, while they chose to remain silent in order to preserve their own interests. The same level of enthusiasm that they had when you toasted that feat to crickets, while at the same time they bestowed praise on others for accomplishments that were less significant. Gain an understanding of the important spiritual instruction that is being revealed through this circumstance. In addition to words, the cosmos communicates with us through our experiences. This lesson from the cosmos has repercussions that extend beyond your own personal circumstances. This exemplifies the fundamental rules that govern all existence, saying that the truth cannot be buried for an infinite amount of time. In the end, the Universal Archaeology crew is successful in unearthing all that was concealed. Divine timing is characterized by unparalleled accuracy. What appears to be a delay is frequently purposeful positioning for the purpose of achieving maximum impact. Your guardians have never abandoned their posts, even during the most difficult chapters of your life. Spiritual protection is effective even when it is not visible. Contracts between souls are able to fulfill themselves regardless of the intervention of humans. Whatever was intended to be will eventually come into existence. There is no need for human enforcement of divine justice because the universal corrective mechanism functions independently, flawlessly, and unrelentingly. In high-definition reality, you are observing these cosmic laws as they are being acted out right in front of your very eyes in current time. Indeed, this is not merely a theory or a spiritual philosophy. Rather, it is the application of universal law. Your left on read would be considered poetry, your unavailable to answer your call would be considered literature, and your new phone hood is artistic skill. This deliberate absence teaches something that your words could never possibly convey. Despite your explanation, they did not pay attention. Despite the fact that you presented evidence, they disregarded it. As soon as you stated your discomfort, they downplayed it. However, the absence of you is something that they sense in their nervous system. By remaining silent, you are able to do something that debating could never do with elegance and efficiency. This results in the creation of a large, empty space in which the individual's own ideas become the relentless prosecutor, asking questions that you have never required to articulate. By doing so, they are forced to finally confront themselves in the mirror without any deflection, which eliminates the convenient distraction of defending themselves against you. Consequently, it eliminates their practice capacity to distort your words into new manipulations, which would leave you having to defend yourself once more. They are unable to rewrite history in real time as they speak to you, modifying their narrative with each response, since this stops them from doing so. Without the solace that comes from your forgiveness, it forces them to sit in an uncomfortable position amid the anxiety that comes from unresolved tension. This presents them with the priceless opportunity to experience exactly what they provided for you at the time when you required it the most. The deafening sound of quiet at a time when connection was critically required. You're not here by chance. Feel the pull, tap join to unlock truth, purpose, and a tribe that gets it. This is more than a membership. It's your calling. Observe their advancement through the stages of consequence in a calm and collected manner while maintaining a considerable distance. First comes confusion, as they tell themselves, they must not have seen my message, or it must have gone to spam. This quickly transforms into entitlement as they internally fume. I can't believe they're ignoring me after everything I've done for them. When entitlement fails to produce results, anger emerges as they convince themselves this is so childish, they need to grow up and get over it. As realization dawns that anger isn't working, they shift to bargaining with thoughts like, if they would just talk to me, I could explain everything, and they'd understand. When bargaining yields no response, depression settles in with the painful understanding, I guess this is really over, and there's nothing I can do to fix it. Finally, if they possess even minimal self-awareness, you are regaining your energy, rebuilding your boundaries, and redirecting your focus to those who genuinely need your presence while they are going through this emotional whirlwind. This is the most powerful element of the situation. From this point forward, adopt the viewpoint of the cosmic observer. Consider the issue from the perspective of stars that have seen the growth and collapse of entire civilizations. Observe this situation from their vantage point. Take a look at these occurrences through the perspective of galaxies that have witnessed the evolution of species from simple forms to more complex forms of consciousness. As a result of this heightened awareness, the human drama that is taking on below appears to be both significant and insignificant at the same time. Every single player adheres to their soul script with an extraordinary degree of accuracy, despite the fact that they believe they are making their own decisions individually. Each unexpected turn of events contributes to the larger cosmic narrative, despite the fact that it appears chaotic from the ground level. As a participant, you are both a witness, an actor, and an audience member, as well as a character and an author. The paradoxical situation that you are in provides you with a unique viewpoint, which is the ability to experience everything to the fullest while simultaneously transcending the boundaries of that experience. This observer consciousness is your birthright as a multidimensional entity that is momentarily focused on the experience of the physical world. Make use of your heightened awareness as you observe the process of cosmic correction taking place in front of you. When you quit feeding relationship parasites, your entire system will reset in ways that at first glance appear to be miraculous, but are actually just natural results of conserving energy. The brain fog that you didn't even recognize lifts like morning mist, revealing mental clarity that you forgot was possible. Take note of what happens in the vacuum that is created by their absence, that is generated by their absence. There is no explanation for why the knot that has been in your stomach for so long suddenly unties itself, making room for actual appetite and enjoyment. Rather than being plagued with anxiety and tossing and turning, the sleep that you were unable to get returns with vivid dreams and profound rejuvenation. As soon as you stop wasting resources on unexpected expenses and loans that never come back, the money that has always seemed to disappear for no apparent reason starts to build up. As soon as your despair is no longer obscuring your vision, the possibilities that were not intended for you suddenly come in plenty. The creativity that appeared to be stifled flows like a river after the spring thaw, carrying with it thoughts that are so brilliant that they even surprise you by their beauty. In the absence of their deliberate uncertainty clouding your judgment, the decisions that appeared to be unattainable became crystal plain. During the process of your energy field returning to its normal, healthy form, you will find that the relationships that nourish rather than deplete you attract towards you. It was never clear to the saboteurs what it was that they were actually obstructing. They were under the impression that they were exerting control over a person, rather than temporarily disrupting a natural force that assumes human form. They misunderstood your patience for weakness, your intricacy for misunderstanding, and your kindness for innocence that they misread for naivety. Because of their limited perception, they were unable to comprehend the fact that they were attempting to contain an ocean with a paper cup. They were unaware that they were not reducing the brightness of your light. Rather, they were only casting brief shadows that, in comparison, made your eventual brightness much more stunning. How about we go down to earth and talk about those betrayals that seemed like cosmic accidents? In reality, they were precision instruments that were developed with a specific goal in mind. Nonetheless, the knowledge does not provide much solace during the painful experience. Their betrayal brought to light your one-of-a-kind superpower of resilience in a manner that no other circumstance could have done. You discovered a strength that you had never idea existed within your nature when they drove you to the verge of breaking, yet you did not shatter beneath their pressure. Despite the fact that you felt every ounce of its pressure, the emotional weight that would have destroyed others barely bent you. You came to realize that your capabilities go well beyond what you had previously conceived of as being conceivable. Because of their dishonesty, vital relationship surgery was performed, which would have been impossible for you to provide permission for. There were some ties that needed to be severed fully, but you were too devoted to your word and too dedicated to your vows to cut the cord on your own. You were liberated from attachments that were progressively poisoning your spirit as a result of their treachery, which performed the amputation that you had been unable to bring yourself to execute. Even if the pain was unbearable, the illness is no longer able to spread. The deceit that they perpetrated significantly improved the effectiveness of your BS detection system. Your intuition now sees red flags at first flash, rather than after 15 billboards of signs screaming, "Danger." That funny sensation in your stomach when someone isn't genuine. That's your improved internal security system operating with unprecedented awareness. You are now aware of the tiny indications of dishonesty that had before evaded your ability to defend yourself. Their outrageous behavior imposed boundaries on you that you were unable to establish for yourself because you were too accommodating. In spite of the fact that there is evidence to the contrary, you were brought up to have compassion, to believe in people no matter what, and to give them second and seventh chances. Their behavior was so awful that they eventually granted you license to declare absolutely not, without feeling guilty or providing any rationale for your statement. It is no longer necessary for you to provide an explanation as to why you defend yourself. Their abandonment compelled you to grow, which you had been unknowingly avoiding, despite the fact that you were aware that it was essential. Comfort zones are great for a warm environment, but they eventually restrict your growth. Because of their betrayal, you were forced to leave the nest that you had outgrown, but were reluctant to leave on your own will. You were unable to find the words to describe how terrible the free fall was, until you realized that you had the ability to fly with incredible force when things required it. Nevertheless, you should acknowledge this basic reality about your experience. They were a typecast in your life story, contrary to what they believed, which was that the other way around. Despite the fact that they were actually following stage directions in your hero's journey and playing the required antagonist that forces character development, they were under the impression that they were creating the script. Their treachery was not the result of random chance or unfortunate circumstances. Rather, it was the precise catalyst that was required to activate dormant components of your most powerful self that would have remained dormant in circumstances that were more comfortable. Your victory is being celebrated by the realms that are not visible as justice becomes manifest in the visible world. Now that light has finally broken. Those guides who traveled alongside you through the darkest hours are crying out in joy. Your ancestors, who provided you with support and assistance at times when you felt like you couldn't go on, are now celebrating with joy as your vindication comes to fruition. This cosmic accomplishment is reflected in the stars themselves, which shine brighter than they did before. The elements react to this restoration of natural order by causing you to sense the winds of change blowing through your life, the firm earth solidifying beneath your feet, the purifying rivers washing away the residue of battle, and the transforming fire consuming what is no longer serving its purpose. They will employ strategies that are perfectly tailored to your particular vulnerabilities, and they will do it with surgical precision, using the phrase, "Remember that time when." As a starting point, they will use previous experiences to circumvent your current defenses by appealing to your feelings of emotional nostalgia. They will promise transformation by making statements such as, "I've changed so much, you wouldn't recognize me," delivering the redemption arc that you had previously hoped for, but that they never delivered on. In order to take advantage of the particular connection that they had previously ignored when it was convenient, they will make claims such as, "No one understands me like you do," in order to appeal to your one-of-a-kind connection.